Hey, what's up, family? I'm going to talk a little bit about my day as an entrepreneur. I'm headed to a retreat. And one of the things that I'm always trying to figure out is how to get all my entrepreneurial duties done and get my employee duties done. So today actually started with a bit of a mindset moment, figuring out and believing that I could get it all done. Because one, if you don't believe you can get it all done, you might as well hang it up because you won't. You have to believe it could happen. And then I had a meeting with actually one of the people I manage at my freelance employee job. And that meeting went really, really well. It's so good when you have people who work under you who are committed to making a thing happen. They make it so much easier. And I also use that in my entrepreneurship. I look at what are the attributes of my colleagues or the people that I manage in my current position that I want to seek in employees that I hire in my business. So that's a cue. Again, I'm consistently talking about how do you pay attention to the characteristics, the traits, the hard and soft skills of the people that you're working with, working under, leading, managing, so that you can have a successful business. What are the things that they have that you appreciate? What skills do you bring to the table as an employee and entrepreneur? And how do they fill out the places where you have gaps? So this particular person, one of the things that I appreciate about this employee is that they do really well with follow through. Follow through is something that I just don't see anymore. People don't follow through. They don't follow up. They don't check in to see or let you know where they are in the work that they're doing. They just drop the ball. And this particular person is always following through, checking in, being accountable for what they're working on and what's working, what's not working. And I appreciate it so much. I feel like I can exhale because I know that I know exactly where they are. The work doesn't always get finished or done, but I know where they are in the process. And that is a game changer when you are an entrepreneur, especially if you're running a business. You want the people that are working under you to be as accountable as you are so that you can freely focus on what you're doing because you do not want to be micromanaging people. People think that micromanaging is something that folks like to do, but micromanaging is generally a trauma response. It comes from having worked with people who just weren't accountable, did not answer to what they had to do, so you feel like you have to stay on top of them because either in your educational experience, personal experience, professional experience, you had a lot of people who lacked accountability. At the end of the day, nobody ever wants to micromanage, especially if they're an entrepreneur or leading a business, because there are so many other things that we have to do in order to get the job done. So we are grateful when we work with people who are on top of their own thing. Or more importantly, this is like, this is the real sauce. When that person has an understanding of all the things you have going on and you share that information with them and then they check in with you to see if you did it, listen, I'd hire you over and over and over again because I'm literally telling you what I have happening because I need checks and balances. Otherwise, why would I tell you? I'm not just talking to hear myself talk off for hot air. I want you to know what's happening and I want you to have the buy-in to the completion of the thing the same way I have the buy-in to the completion of the thing. So yeah, anyway, that meeting went really well. We made a plan for a project that we have to complete in the next 2 months. And I think it's going to be very successful. Getting that done at the top of the day for that other business allowed me to focus the rest of the day on my business. And honestly, today was about making a plan to plan, making a plan to plan for the rest of the year. Oftentimes or not, people don't understand that you have to plan to be productive. You can't just jump in and start doing a thing. You'll get very little done. But when you plan what you're going to do, make an agenda, and then figure out what is the best productivity of your time, what is the best use of your time to be productive, it changes everything. And when I say use of your time, I mean literally everything from what are you going to wear, what are you going to eat, when is the best time to take a break, when is the best time to travel for maximum or the least amount of traffic, the maximum ease of travel. All of those things contribute to your productivity. Also, when you travel, so there's no stress, so that when you get to where you're going, you can be as creative and productive as possible. You have to plan in order to optimize your output as an entrepreneur, especially when you're balancing your entrepreneurship with other things. So I think that is one of the biggest things that I didn't understand or took for granted, is how much planning goes into the plan in order to be productive, and planning every moment of your time. Because when you're not working on one thing, you're working on multiple things, time is very valuable. I also found some great time today for my own personal/business development. As a part of my work this year, I'll be pitching corporations and educational organizations for the work that I do. And I spent about an hour 15 in a workshop that was very, very helpful for me. I'd actually been in it previously, but it's very interesting. I was very green to the concept the last time I sat in on this workshop. So I didn't know and understand the concepts in the way that I do now. So I was really able to grasp the information that the workshop leader was sharing today in a way that I hadn't been able to when I first took the workshop back in October. And it was very helpful because there were specific elements of the planning and prep that I plan to do this weekend that this workshop is now the workshop I took is going to help me be even more efficient with my productivity and scale my productivity this weekend, now that the workshop leader provided some tips and tricks for those of us, cheat codes for those of us who were a part of the workshop. After that, I had a coaching client, and it was a really, really good session. It's so interesting. One of the interesting things about one-to-one coaching is half of our job is just helping our clients get clear and gain more clarity about what they're doing, why they're doing, and why it's important, and also helping them take action steps. So one of my jobs as a coach is specifically helping a client get clarity about who they are, what they serve, how they tell stories about that in order to sell more product, and be clear about the client's transformation. That's what I find most business owners, especially service-based business owners, don't really know about their work. What kind of transformation will my client have if they utilize my product or service successfully? This is so important because I found people who have pivoted. Like, they look at what they thought they wanted to do, and then they looked at what the outcome of the client would be if they applied or use a service or product, and they were like, well, that's not what I want from the people that I serve. And they generally then they may shift. So knowing what you want the transformation of your client to be is a game changer, and it completely alters how you show up in the space authentically to offer your product or service. So I peddle, I sell authenticity, clarity, brand, helping people brand their beliefs and core values, and allowing them to show up with unshakable confidence. That means that the people that I work with tend to be purpose-driven, and they tend to have strong beliefs behind the thing that they offer. They are folks who aren't just doing things for money. They tend to be doing it because they really want to change the face of the world. Folks who are here to just make money don't tend to come to me. It's folks who feel like they want to shift their community and culture, and there's a little bit of advocacy and activism within them. That's what I found. 9 times out of 10, the thing that they're doing is something that they needed or someone in their family needed, and they either overcame the adversity themselves or they helped someone else, and then they realized there was a bigger cause for them. But they're not always sure how to take that thing to a larger scale, or to make it a profit earning business. Many of the service-based people I've worked with have done the thing, volunteered to do the thing in the past, or given the people that they are serving just free game. And now they realize that there's an opportunity for them to live off of this thing, and that they deserve or should are worth everything that they can get from it. And I help them begin to package exactly what happens. The other thing that the people that I tend to serve, the thing that they offer, they could do with their eyes closed. They've just been doing it for so long. So they don't always see the value in it. So I reflect back to them the amazingness of what they do, what they bring, so they can walk into any room talking about it with a level of empowerment, elevation, victory, and standard and magnetism, so that other people really, really want to work with them, right? So I had a client today, and we just had a really great session working through that with her. And in this person's case, they've been doing the work, but rarely do they talk about the work. So we're getting them really comfortable talking about the work that they offer so that they can pitch to more people. So that happened. So when that was over, there was some administrative work to do. And then I'm packing for this business planning retreat this weekend. So it was all in all a good day. The other position that I do that's not part of my business will rev back up in 2 weeks. So my goal, one of the things that I have to do as an entrepreneur in order to be successful in 2025, is really begin to automate some of the things and build systems around some of the things that the procedures and operating procedures that I have in my business. That's the only way it's going to work. Otherwise, I will be flailing. And what happened to me in the last month of 2024 is that I lost a significant member of my business, and I had to pick up the slack. And there are a lot of places where just what they did wasn't written down. And having to figure that out let me know that I had started building systems, but let me know that I have to go back and build more systems. This weekend, the other thing that I plan to do is automate my communication. And that's going to be huge, because that is a place where I think my mindset gets in the way the most, is when I have to sell my offers through social media, through my email list, here on YouTube, whatever. I'll freeze up. But if I automate that thing, schedule it, batch it, and put it out there, then I'm not sitting there like biting my teeth about whether or not people like it, because it's already out there in the universe. So yeah, that is the work that has been going on today. I'm excited about the next 2.5 days, because I really plan to get extremely confident in my offers for the year. So one of the things that we did last night that I thought was awesome, and maybe I talked about this already, was as a family, we sat down and I talked about the process of planning being an act of faith. I find that people who don't like to plan are people who are doubtful and worrisome, because then they feel like they'll be disappointed if the thing that they plan, they don't take action on it. So as a part of Imani and Kwanzaa, I asked for my family to make a plan and put faith in that plan for the year. I asked them to either do it for the year, for a quarter, or for a month. And all 4 of us did it. And you could feel the energy behind it, because you really have to believe in yourself, especially if you're doing something for yourself. If I have children who are students in college and high school, that's one thing, but they also have their own projects. And it's always weary. It's always weird sometimes to put out there to the world what you plan to do. So I didn't require everybody to share their stuff. I just said, let's just put it out there. And I said, let's hold on to this. I gave them big Post-it notes to write it on. Hold on to it, and we'll come back together next December and see how well you did on your plan. Knowing that to me, a plan is faith and intention in action. Faith and intention in action. Some people could say it's goals, faith, intention, action. It really is, as I'm thinking through, it really is a series of habits that you put in action based on the faith you have in the thing that you want to attain. That's just an idea on my mind. So yeah, the thought that I'm having as I go into the weekend is that the beauty, if you want to call it that, of being an employee and an entrepreneur at the same time is that it requires you to be extremely disciplined. So that when you put one of them down, whether it's the employment or the entrepreneurship, you automatically scale at the other one, whichever one it is, because you'll be able to take all of the energy from one and put it into the other. That was the other thing I wanted to share from the workshop I sat in on today. The workshop leader talked about really honing in on one thing that you offer, because you're not going to be able to profit and scale at the level you want to if you're doing multiple things. And I knew that word was for me as this person who's managing entrepreneurship and employment with other businesses at the same time. I used the employment as a safety net, but there are so many ways in which it would be a better use of my time to be in full-time entrepreneurship and be able to scale that business if I didn't have the deliverables that I had in my employment position. So we will see. We will see how it goes with that over this year. Last year I said would be the year that I do it, and I did it. So now I have this year. I actually didn't make any promises to myself this year. I'm taking it day by day, which is what my spirit and nervous system needs. So I'm allowing myself to go freely and easily through the year with a plan. And we'll let the year decide or determine how I flow and function. I think that makes sense. I hope this has been helpful as we're thinking about the mindset and the strategies that we use as employees and entrepreneurs who are balancing both things at the same time. And again, we just finished the second day of 2025, and there are 363 more days that we get to be absolutely amazing, that we get to live our lives authentically our way. And I personally am authentically balancing employment and entrepreneurship and trying to do so successfully with effortless ease. That was my word for last year. Effortless ease was not what it was, but it allowed me to give myself some grace. This is my year of going from inaction. Well, I went from inaction to action last year, but getting in action, really actively jumping into a thing immediately. So part of that is these YouTube videos talking to you all about the lessons I'm learning and the things that it requires to manage both things well until you decide to transition either fully into entrepreneurship or fully back into employment only. So here I am in the gap, in the in-between, enjoying the experience and sharing it with y'all. So yeah, let's have a good time, and I'll see y'all soon. Take care.